Hi, everyone. This is another MD2L interview. We have Breaker
Hello.
and we got Matty. Matty is
Hey,
our special guest for this week.
what's up, guys?
Matty, do you have anything that you want to announce to MD2L as your statement for this interview?
Signups are almost live in 2 weeks for
A
the next
very,
season. So
very administratorial of you. Okay.
figure out your team and sign up. There's only 32 teams this season. So,
Oh, dang. Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Oh, you're limiting. Oh, that's good.
yep.
Hmm.
I suppose.
Okay.
Before we dive into the questions, actually, I'm curious to see. So the cutting down to 32 teams from the 40 that we had this current season, if I'm not mistaken. Is that in the hopes of shortening the season, or is there other things at play there?
Yeah, the bracket simplifies a lot at 32 teams, but it also shortens the season. So we're done by the holidays. And then we're going to take an extended break through the holidays from Thanksgiving through Christmas, and then we're gonna start our land season after that. So we kind of want people to have a break and not be burned out for the land season, and just get people excited for it.
That's actually really cool. I like that idea because I like taking a little bit of a break from MD2L, but I don't want to sit out, a whole 5 month season. I
Mm-hmm.
just want like a month or two off, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. And then it's also avoids the headache of trying to schedule during that time period when everyone's visiting family and out of town. So
Oh yeah, I'm gone with
Yeah.
my parents for Thanksgiving for 2 weeks. I can't play any games then. Yeah, kind of
yep.
thing. Yeah.
Yep.
The U.S. shuts down for an entire month, essentially. It's amazing. Well, we'll kick off with the first question. What was the first step you took when you began to make this league?
Yeah, so I went to a LAN cafe. It was a local LAN cafe in my town, and I wanted to start a tournament. I basically joined a couple of online leagues. I didn't love the experience. I thought it was a great concept, but I didn't love the experience. And I like Google searched like Dota tournaments near me, and nothing ever showed up. But I just was so passionate about the game, and I had, spent thousands of hours in it, and I figured that I wasn't the only one that would also feel that way about it. And so I went with them, met at this local LAN cafe with the managers there. They asked me to be this like community manager for Dota, which basically meant that I just like worked for them for free. And the idea was just for me to get people to come into their LAN center to play on their PCs. And so I started by putting on, we called it Landmark Dota 2 tournaments. That was what we were originally called because that's what the LAN center was called. It was really small, like 4 teams, no prize pool. And then, half of those people would even show up at the LAN. So it wasn't a ton of people.
Damn, dude, you
Um,
got your labor hardcore abused.
yeah, exactly. And so from there I really just did a lot of individual messaging. I talked to like admins of other leagues, and I would join like dozens of discords, and whether they were local or just schools that were local, and I would literally scroll through the sidebar where it says like their statuses, and I would message anyone that was saying that they were playing Dota 2. So like I looked anywhere and everywhere for Dota players that were somewhat local to me, and so I finally found some, and then I eventually learned that if you can get like the leader or like the influential person of a friend group, that they can usually bring their buddies on board. And so if I get enough of those people, and that's pretty much what captains are, if I can get enough of those people, then you can make something out of it. And so but we really also needed more of a reason for people to to come. So we started having a prize pool after there was no prize pool. And so um, basically we had our prize pool. Then COVID kind of shut everything down in person, but then the online scene got super big from there, forced everyone to stay home. So then, like the tournaments, the numbers and the prize pool just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Damn, that is an insane amount of work just from going from landmark to all those messagings, dude. You must have built up
Yeah.
a will of iron to put yourself out there that much. Damn.
Yeah, it was a lot of manual labor as far as just having tons of conversations, messaging like hundreds of individual people, kind of talking to them about what I'm even doing because it's a lot harder to start something than it is to join something that's existing. And
Hmm.
so convincing other people to get up and leave their comfort of their homes to come play with a bunch of strangers is a hard concept to pull off. And
And
so,
how long would you say that it took before you really got your first big break? Besides, like once you were setting up this league itself, how much work was it before you were like, okay, this is finally going to happen?
um, I think it was, I think it was just a really slow. I don't think there was any one moment, but it was just like, okay, we finished one season, 4 teams. Okay, cool. Do the next season. Okay, it's 6 teams. Do the next season. Okay, it's now 8 teams. Do the next season. Oh wow, we have 16 teams playing now. And then it just kind of like got
Hmm.
went up by like 20 to 50% each season. And so um it was just like a really slow process. That's basically I started this in like 2016, 2017. So
Hmm. So moving on to the next question, who would you really say pushed you to make this?
so I wouldn't say it was like somebody else. It was more just like the passion for the game on my side and just being convinced that there definitely is other people out there that love this game as much as I do. I was like 1.5K MMR like when I first started and when I in 2015 and I watched the Purge and Day 9 series and I kept improving from there and got to like 4K or something and then that's when I started this league, and I knew that there were people a lot better than me, but I also kind of was like, are is my rank accurate? Like, if I go to a LAN, like, am I gonna be the like actually the best player there? Like, I kind of just wanted to see what that aspect of it was like, and so it was just really motivating to start something like this, and I also played in a couple of leagues before this, and I didn't have the greatest experiences, and so I just knew that the concept was awesome, but it just needed to be executed better. And there was definitely a market for doing prize pool tournaments or doing uh, in-person tournaments, and so I knew the market was there. There just needed to be something created for it, and so then from there is just creating something that was that was worth it for people.
Hmm. Damn, it's very impressive stuff, man. That takes a lot of will.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
say,
you.
Tony, I'll butt in there. Just
mhm.
that's crazy though, going from 2 teams, 4 teams, 6 teams, 8 teams, and now it's to the point that we're getting 40 teams. I mean, that's a lot of people.
That's
Mm-hmm.
200 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we've had 48 teams before too. And yeah,
Wow.
it's a lot of people.
I guess yeah, no wonder why it's we're trying to keep as many signups. It's not like we're trying to cut to let people not play, but just having that many people even interested is that's quite the accomplishment.
Yeah.
Hmm. So how much work do you end up putting in weekly slash seasonally for like everything involving leagues?
It is a lot of man hours. Um, but it's we've figured out some ways to automate some things. And so it has gotten better. We also have right now, especially, we have a really nice admin team set up, and so I'm able to not have to do everything myself, which is really good too. Just because I can't do everything myself, and people have different skill sets than me, and just I figured out just utilizing those skill sets that are more proficient at things than I am is for the better of everyone. And so there's a lot of like real life lessons in here too, as far as just like management and um, just dealing with the masses of people that is essentially the public, the public of Dota in general chat. But um, I mean, it takes a lot of work. It's pretty heavy on the front end and the back end as far as when signups start and then when playoffs are. So those are both really heavy. But since it's automated, since I have the team behind me, week to week isn't so bad. But when there's a crisis, that's a lot of work sometimes too. Like if we get reports and proof of Smurfs or allegations or whatever it is, that could be a lot of work. We do a ton of investigating. Like I have done so much investigating that takes me literally 8 hours in a day, just because
Holy shit!
it like I'm
Damn.
literally all day. That's what I'm working on. I've transposed like Dota activity from Open Dota, like the Dota activity screens where it shows the circles on each day, and like transposed one accounts over another to see that there was a shared account because they would take break, like it lined up like perfectly like which account they were playing on for which day. And so it is a lot of work, but it's worth it for me.
Yeah. Quick shout out for the admin team.
Yes, they're awesome. The team right now that we have, we've had some great members in the past before too, but especially right now, we're super engaged and motivated, and people just want to help out and just being present and being available. That's in anything in life, just being present and being available is half the battle, and that's what we have right now. So
Very wise words from Dad Matty.
that's right.
Do you
Yeah.
have any? Oh, sorry,
No,
Breaker.
go for it. Go for it.
I was gonna move to the next question.
Yeah,
So.
go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any funny stories concerning the administratorial work required to get the league set up? I know we're an LLC, which implies like a lot of annoying paperwork, so I could imagine something has hit a snag at some point.
Yeah, so the whole process actually is a lot easier than you would think it is. And so, like, you have to file to get the federal tax identification number. So that's a separate process, and then you have to set up something with your state as far as what kind of business you want to be. It's actually way easier than you would think, and it might be different from state to state. But for the most part, you just go to like the website, and it just lists out every form that you need and every step of the way. So, and it's not super expensive. It's like a few $100s every year. But so basically, when I didn't know anything about it, I went to an attorney, and he was like, "Oh yeah, man, like I can do this for you. Like it'll just cost you like $500 to get the thing set up, and then you'll have to pay the state fees on top of that." And so I was like, $500. This was like pretty early on before we were really taking in much
Yeah.
money at all. Like this was like when it was like $10 per person or like $15 per person. So $500 then for the league was a ton, and it is still now because we don't make money. It's all built to pay for itself. But he said it'd be $500, and so I was like, I think I can figure this out by myself, and I did. So yeah, if you need help if anyone out there needs help setting up an LLC, I will do it for free. Don't overpay an attorney by $500. So
Wow, you're giving out a lot of free help right now.
yeah, exactly.
Very charitable.
Oh,
So, what's thus far your most memorable moment from running the league?
Yeah. So the land that we did right after COVID was really cool because that was the first time that a lot of people could see each other in person because it grew so much during COVID. And then now all of a sudden COVID restrictions are lifted, and we now had the player base to make something that was going to be really special. And so we kind of overkilled it on the venue. Like we set it up for like 150 people, and I think only like 75 people came. We set up two huge, massive stages, and I don't think the venue is super happy with me because they gave me a huge discount on it, and it cost them a ton of money because it was new to them. But they wanted to see what it would be like to host an esports event. They had never done that before, and so and it was also bring your own computer, which made it hard. But we did it anyway, and it was really cool just doing it for the first time with people that you've known about for years in the Discord and in the game, and now you kind of finally get to see the face behind the voice. And so a couple of memories particularly stand out from that weekend. Day one, it was it was the evening series. That was when several teams had been eliminated and people were playing, just for fun also throughout the day, but they were kind of done and getting ready to go home or go to their hotel or whatever. And so that night it was really cool because other than the teams that were playing, which was just a couple teams, there's a crowd of like 50, 70 people gathered at one of the stages to watch the games, and those games were a ton of fun, and the crowd getting into it. And then the next day during the grand finals, this was the team that Sam, Sauce, I think Mothman and Chaz. I don't. No, it was what's his name? Anyway, Diesel. It was that team that won. It was really cool. The crowd was super into it. There's whatever it was, $1,000 or $1,500 on the line, and Sauce's team just owned. And it was a decently close series. I think it was against Mozart's team, but Sauce's team did great. The crowd was super into it, and it was just a great experience from a viewer's perspective. The idea of this was originally, the idea is we want to create a international experience for your average player, and so kind of like an official esports Dota experience. And to me, that was, and I haven't been to one of those yet. I'm going to go to TI this year, so I imagine it will be cooler. But for a discount, I feel like it was pretty close to the real thing.
I would not try and undersell it at all. That's an insane amount of effort and work, and I think more than anything, people would like a community to have around them.
The community part of it is awesome.
I applaud you, sir.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. I can add to that a little bit. I know this is the interview for him, but the land last season at the end of 2022, that was my first LAN, I think second season playing the MD2L, but first actual LAN. And I remember going down. I casted a few of the series with Chriso on Sunday, and just overall the whole weekend was an absolute blast. Like, I haven't been to majors or TIs or anything like that. I haven't been to any Dota tournaments in person, but going to that LAN, the whole weekend was just an absolute blast. I mean, I think we got knocked out like, I don't know, first or second game of the day, so we didn't last long. But overall, just hanging out, seeing everybody, and having people in person that liked Dota and were interested in it, and just overall just an absolute blast. So Tony, you got to go next year.
That's awesome. A quick comment on that. I had to leave the first day because my wife was due with our second child, and she had pre-eclampsia symptoms with our first child, and so she wanted me back home in case
Holy shit, that is stressful.
Happened again. So I wasn't. It was a really stressful weekend for me. But we'll do the next one here in March, and my wife's not pregnant, so it should be a much better time.
Wonderful. Great. Good. Love to hear it. Who's your favorite for the league, and what's or who's your favorite player, and what's your favorite pick for winner for this tournament?
So, for this tournament, who's my favorite player this tournament? Oh,
okay. Who's your favorite player in the league, and then who's your favorite pick for
win
winner
this tournament?
Okay. So in previous seasons, there's a ton of awesome players that have played. A guy that stands out to me is Save from Dota. He's a really cool guy. He played in the most recent LAN season with some of his local buddies, and they lost like every single game. But he grinded. He made DPC. He's a really, really nice guy. He had some really cool ideas. We talked a lot at the last LAN. And I mean, just super great guy. And so he made it to DPC. His name is Save. He's a paramedic in real life. What is it called? EMT or whatever.
EMT, yeah.
And then he plays healing supports in Dota. So he's just
What a guy.
Like
He's
he
not
just
even-
does it all, man.
He has a personality.
He's just like an angel or something. I don't know, but he was great.
So when Overwatch came out, you don't really have to guess what he was
Yes,
playing.
probably not DPS.
Yeah, probably not.
Oh.
And then a team that I really like this season, I really like Jeffrey's team. I feel like they're really hard to draft against. People say that You by Wards is bad, but I feel like he's good. So I don't know. And then I feel like you just can't go wrong
throwing
with
shade to the Chaz right in front of his face.
Chaz is good too. But Chaz is the number 1 overall seed, so it'd be kind of boring if I said them.
Yeah, of course, dude, we're stomping, dude. Let me tell you, dude. Those Spectral.gg, those stats pages, dude. Seeing my name second
True.
place right behind Bonk in like every category is giving me fuel, dude.
True.
Wow, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And then where do you see the league going in the future? Do you have any big plans, ideas?
I've had some ideas. I've had some ideas like the C-Dub League sponsored like a DPC team. I think that would be really cool to be able to do. Have an MD2L sponsored DPC team. So I've kind of looked into that. I think it might require more work and time and money than I can surrender right now. But
And we're gonna have to disqualify 5 players.
they would probably, well, yeah, they'd probably be too high to want to play in our league anyway. Maybe not. I don't know. But so that was like something that I've kind of looked at. Also, we've in the past looked at like really high MMR leagues, and as far as like not for amateur stuff, but some of those things are really cool ideas, but we've kind of figured out over time, like, let's just stick to our bread and butter, which is, Dota for the amateur player. The LAN aspect of it is super unique. So I don't really see it changing a whole lot, just little tweaks here and there to make the player experience the best that it possibly can be, and also the in-person experience the best that it possibly can be. And so it's a ton of work. Like, Dota changes all the time. MMR Glico comes out and messes up everything that we've had, and so it's just a lot of constant work to try to make the experience as best as possible. But I know that people have been frustrated with the admin team or the league or whatever it is at times, and it's definitely not because we're not working hard at it. It's just because we're all adults. We have kids, wives, husbands, jobs, and it's just a ton of work that goes into it. And at the end of the day, we're just doing it for the passion of the game. And, we're just trying to do the best that we can. So.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Matty, for joining us this week for the MD2L interview. I'm very excited to get this out to everybody to see, because I don't honestly know. I didn't know the history of how much work you've done to get this from quite literally nothing to where it is now, to the point of having, several seasons with 40 plus teams sometimes and a whole LAN every year. So it's quite an impressive league you've built. Before we go, anything else you want to add at the end? Any shout outs, comments?
Shout out to you guys for doing this. I know content work is a lot of work too, and sometimes it's not what you want to do with your free time, but you guys see this, have a similar passion and vision as I do, and so I appreciate you guys. And
you make my heart ever stiller.
I already shouted out my admin team, so yeah, so that's all I got.
Good night, MD2L, or whatever time you watch this at.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.